This meeting is being recorded.
Awesome. Yeah. So Akhilesh, you can start the introduction and just walk me through your transition. How did this transition happen from data scientist into AI side, and along with your total years of experience?
Sure. Yeah. So I think I'll just start it from the beginning. So I did my bachelor's in computer science
Mm-hmm.
with a minor in mathematics. It's more of a dual degree program. And after my, or like, most likely during my bachelor's in the final semester, I joined HP, Hewlett Packard, as part of the supply chain team as a data science intern. So where I initially was exposed to Databricks as a platform, like, where, so Databricks was recently introduced to HP. So like I was
Mm-hmm.
sort of the, first of the few teams that got access to Databricks right when I was an intern. So yeah, that was the deployment sort of an exposure that I had. Then later, yeah, after my internship, after my bachelor's, I was hired as a full-time data scientist with the same team, where I worked on demand forecasting projects, like and recommendation engines. So that was the more traditional data science problem statements. I worked for about 2.5 years, including my internship with them. Then I came for my master's. Did my master's in UNC Charlotte, and it's data science and business analytics. So again, I wanted to do something which has a blend of both data science and business because I really wanted to get the exposure on the business side.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose a degree which had both of them. Then yeah, after my masters, I finished my masters in December 2023. It took me about a year and a half to finish it. And after my masters, I got the chance to work with Verizon. I am on W2 with Verizon. So, and again, within Verizon, I was the first ML engineer of this particular team to work on, the GenAI solution. So we started with a project called QoS, which is basically a text to SQL audible, where in simple terms, a user within Verizon, any team, any department, they can just come and type in a question. We see what underlying data sets are related to this particular question, like which databases, which tables, which columns, whatever it is. Translate the question into a SQL query, execute it, which database it belongs to. Like it could be BQ, it could be Postgres, it could be Oracle, it could be anything. So we connect to the particular database, run the SQL queries, get the data, run some insights on it, like probably generate some charts, interactive charts, generate some business summaries for the executive people, right? Executives or like business executives or stakeholders or anyone. And if let's say a particular team needs outputs in a certain format, like say HTML files or probably .md files or a CSV file, for example. So all of that is sort of taken care of as part of the platform. So this was where QoS played a major role, where it was more of a rack solution. We had to uh, document or like create chunks out of all the metadata for the tables, and yeah, that went on for about almost 2 years, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
today it's an enterprise solution. We have about 60 plus teams using it, with close to 10,000 plus queries running on a daily basis. Yeah, so this was with QoS, and then now I'm part of a new project called Q Agent, which is the agentic solution, or like more like an agentic harness framework, which is capable of it's more like a common agentic solution which can connect to any sort of MCP servers within the department, any sort of skills, any sort of agents which use A2A protocols, like we use Google ADK. So within the network department, or like within the department I'm part of, anyone can create skills, anyone can create agents, anyone can create MCP tools, register it on our agentic platform, start asking questions, and our harness is responsible for identifying the right resource to answer the questions. So yeah, this is I think yeah, I did cover a lot of things, but yeah,
Awesome.
this one.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell me any challenging task in your current project. Okay, you just walk me through your current project with Verizon. This I'm not sure. Verizon, this project you are doing 100% remote or you're going on site. What is the base location of this
I
project as
work,
well?
yeah, I work fully remote for this.
Fully remote. And what is the base location of the client?
So Verizon, my particular client location is in Jersey, but I work from Charlotte.
Okay. Any position or any clients where you went on site or you have been doing remote since you landed in US?
No, it's been remote since landed here.
My position is 3 days hybrid. I'm not sure how much you will be comfortable or how much you are interested in this.
No, that totally works for me. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind going to the office if it's a hybrid setting.
Okay.
So yeah,
And what
that's
is
not an
driving you
issue.
to change your employer now?
I think I've worked in multiple roles within Verizon. So, like, I've played different roles. Like, I've started as an ML engineer, then I've been a lead ML engineer, then I've working with different teams sort of put me in an forward deployed engineer position. So I'm sort of looking for some place where I can take all of these and do it as an official, or like more like uh, a senior position sort of a place, you know, something like that.
So, like, okay, I get it. What is the current status of your project? Is it ending, or like you are
You
just
mean
looking
my
for something new?
particular position,
Uh huh.
position with Verizon?
Uh huh.
Yeah, so the project is gonna end next month.
Okay.
Sorry, not the project. It's still gonna go on. It's just our contract with for this particular project is gonna end.
Okay.
Probably after the contract, I might be asked to move to a different project. Again, that's a different
And
conversation.
who
But
is holding your H1B? Is it Infosys?
my
Like
no, so it's Infinite Computer Solutions, ICS.
Infinite? I see. Okay. Okay. What will make you join Innova Solution, or why will you join Innova Solution for Bank of America?
So, yeah, I think for me personally, I have definitely explored different domains. Like more like I've been part of supply chain. Now I've been part of telecom. I'm currently part of telecom.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess is more of a financial company. So like that's gonna give me a different
So you
exposure now.
already did research on your future growth.
It's not about future growth research, but yeah,
No, of course,
I
the financial, this banking and financial definitely once gets added in your resume, it has a different way. It has a different way of looking at it. So yeah, so
true
it's fine.
finance
Are you
will
100%
hold.
sure if we put our efforts and get you an opportunity, you will join?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, once the interview processes are done, like and everything goes smoothly, I think yeah, I'll be good.
Okay. Okay. So to begin with, tell me any challenging task that, or maybe talk about challenges that you were facing in your current project with Verizon and you were able to fix it.
Sure. So there are a number of challenges we had because especially since GenAI was very new when we started off. So I think the main challenge I think we had was with the data sets. See, all
Okay.
these data sets built age-old data sets, like they've built it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, which are not really AI friendly. I mean, no
Okay.
one had an
Makes sense.
idea that 10 years later you'll be using AI for this, right? So the challenge always becomes like, how do you translate that old of a data set into something which AI can understand?
Hmm.
Uh, how your business logic works. Like, how is your day-to-day engineer actually using those data sets to write SQL queries? How complex are the queries and stuff, right? So this sort of changes from team to team. It's not like you build a single solution that entire enterprise can just go ahead and use, right? So this is something that changes from team to team. So the main challenge was we had to sit with the engineers from each team, like most likely the SMEs from each team, spend a couple of weeks in trying to understand how exactly they do their day-to-day business and how exactly can we bring those insights into the framework itself to automate the entire thing or make the LLM understand it on a real-time basis. So that was one main challenge we had with yeah onboarding users.
Okay. Okay. Good. What was your solution? Like, how did you fix it?
Yeah, so ideally when you talk about text to SQL, the thing that comes to mind is you would look for table level information like table descriptions, columns, column descriptions, column data types, and like metadata of the tables, right? But when challenges like these come in, like when teams have different sort of formats and everything, we had to bring in a learning loop. So this learning loop is something where we sort of captured business logic as in a statement itself. Like, so let's say you come from, let's say, the customer support team, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So customer support team has a different logic to handle certain things. Or probably whenever you ask a question, you might look for a latest snapshot of last month. Like whenever you say bring me latest snapshot, it doesn't mean today's snapshot, but probably last month's snapshot. So
Mm-hmm.
we've created a framework where you can provide such information, such details, which will be translated into an instruction to the LLM.
Okay.
So that was the learning framework that we built as a solution to cater this,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
running completely
You were
dynamic. So,
talking about this learning part. So, how would you differentiate in between supervised and unsupervised learning?
it's more about how structured and unstructured data you have. Like if it's a tabular data, or like if you have defined formats data,
Excellent. Yeah,
where
excellent. I
almost
got my answer.
is yeah.
How would you define overfitting and how would you prevent it?
Okay, so again, overfitting again, it's more like how exactly your model was trained. It's more like a variance concept where your model performed probably 97%. I mean, it got 97% accuracy on your training data, but it's failing on your testing data. Like it's getting 60-40% on your testing data. That's when it's overfitting. Basically, it's sort of learning, or like your model is too complex, trying to understand every pattern from the training data, and when something new comes in, it fades. So ideally, the solution for this would be to add more data, augment your data, try to capture as many metrics as you can, then reduce your complexity of the model. That sort of reduces your overfitting, and I mean, sort of balances it out.
Okay. Very nice. And how will you explain precision, recall, F1 score?
So precision, recall, F1 score, all of these are more like the metrics that you use to
Mm-hmm.
create your models. So precision is more like how many items or whatever the metric is are predicted as positive and are actually positive. Right? It's not related to negatives anymore. It's all about positive count. Like it's true positives by true positives plus true negatives sort of a thing. Oh, sorry, true positives by true positives plus
Basically,
false
the
positives.
operations that you're talking about, right?
Oh,
The
right, yeah.
logical operations, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that is where your precision comes in.
Okay.
Uh, oh, what else? Sorry, I think
That's
I.
okay. That's okay. Can you explain what is bias variance trade-off?
Yeah, so bias variance again, it's more like underfitting and overfitting. So variance of overfitting, we've already covered it. So bias is more of underfitting, where your model is performing bad on both training and testing samples because it's sort of creating like a linear line on your data without really creating a curve to understand the patterns. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not really understanding any patterns. It's very simple. The model is very simple. It's not capturing the patterns. So what you do is you add penalties to it, like the regularization metric. You add weighted penalties to say that, for example, you're training a kid, like you're teaching science to a kid, and you say that, hey, every time you answer something wrong, or like if you're learning something wrong, I'm gonna penalize you by hitting you, or like some sort of thing.
I got it.
So yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yes,
Which ML operation algorithms you have implemented so far?
Okay. Not in Verizon, but back in HP, we did use a lot of models, like mainly the decision tree models like XGBoost,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because we had more like tabular data and we had a lot of missing values sort of in our data. So decision trees were really good enough to capture the underlying metrics, handle the missing data and everything. So that's probably where we went, and some
Mm-hmm.
traditional models as well, like seasonality index and all of those.
Okay. And how do you validate a model performance?
Back then, I think it was more on accuracy, and we had some classification metrics like ABC, XYZ classifications, where uh, uh, a particular okay, we were doing spare parts, so each part has a certain value assigned to it. So if it's a high value part, or if it's a low value part, or if it's a high demand part, or if it's a low demand part, so that's where XYZ, ABC, XYZ classification comes in. So we use
Very
certain
nice.
metrics to.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. How do you deploy? Have you ever deployed ML models into production?
ML models or LLM models? I just
ML models, I'm talking about.
Yeah, ML models, yeah, we did. So we used Databricks for this. We deployed the models, and we had some monitoring metrics on it to make sure that every week we run some like it's monitored real time, but we sort of do a weekly job where we look at how exactly the model is performing on weekly basis with the customers, and we sort of use that feedback to retrain the model if required.
Okay.
But
Okay.
ideally,
Good.
what we did
And
was
how will you deploy LLM models in production environment?
Got it. So LLM models, I think there are multiple steps to this. I mean, you have to evaluate a lot of things. But ideally, the first step would be to use an infrastructure, something like VLLM, for example, which allows you to scale your tool, I mean, your model. Then comes your caching techniques, like how exactly are you caching. Then comes your scalability, like if you're deploying on Kubernetes or anything as such. Then comes your cost metrics, like how many budget, I mean, sorry, what is your token budget, what is your rate limits and everything. So all of these again can be handled by a framework like Light LLM, which sort of puts your tool
Mm-hmm.
in place, checks.
Tiny, basically
So
tiny LLMs. Yeah.
right,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so all of these I think would be the metrics. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. How would you differentiate in between RAG and fine tuning?
So RAG is something where your data can be changing every time. Like say you have some documents, PDFs or anything as such.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like a retrieval based on semantic search.
Mm-hmm.
So your data can always keep changing. Fine tuning comes in when you have a very specific use case where the data is not frequently changing, but you need your model to be very custom to your responses. I mean, for your responses. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. And what are the databases that you have worked on the RAG side of, or maybe for AI, towards the AI side? Or maybe if I put it
So
very simple, talk more about vector
mm,
database. How much you were involved? What was your day-to-day transaction that you were involved in? And how did you
got it.
use this vector database?
Right. So vector databases, we started with ChromaDB since it was open source and free, and it was in a POC stage. The project was in a POC stage. So we use ChromaDB for indexing. Ideally, what we indexed was your table description, since we had text to SQL as the use case. We indexed our table descriptions as the metric for retrieval. Then we had embeddings on column level information and any sort of business indicators. But yeah, primary it was stable descriptions. Then eventually we moved to PG Vector since it's an enterprise approved solution for us. So yeah, the transition came from ChromaDB to PG Vector.
Okay, great. One last question. How do you reduce the hallucination?
Yeah, so hallucination comes in because either your prompt is under prompting, like for example, or again, if you bring in the bias sort of a concept here, if your prompts or whatever information that you're passing to the LLM are not really rich enough, that's when
Mm-hmm.
the model will start generalizing itself. Like, it's going to bring in its own knowledge into your responses. So that's one stage of hallucinations. Then in our case, hallucinations came in with respect to SQL queries, like when it started hallucinating random table names, random column names, which don't exist. So we had to create a feedback loop sort of a thing where every time a response comes in, we had some metrics to check. Not metrics, sorry, or checks in place where to see if the table description, I mean, sorry, the tables or columns are suggested incorrectly or if they're hallucinated. And we ran a feedback loop on top of it for the LLM to self correct. But yeah, ideally, the way to reduce hallucinations would be to control your temperature, your model temperatures. Like the more the temperature is, the more creative it gets. So you sort of have to find the balance there.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I think that that's all I wanted to ask, and probably I will just stop this recording because I have few questions that I wanted to ask.